Ubisoft have seemingly done the impossible. They have taken the notion of a Call of Duty killer and actually made people believe it. Now, people throw around X killer all the time. Whenever a game is super popular, there's always something that is a killer of it. I remember one of the most prominent ones that I can recall was when Haze came out on the PS3. It was supposed to be a Halo killer. And we all know how that turned out because no one remembers Haze. And then there have been many games that are supposedly Call of Duty killers, and Call of Duty is still where it stands today. Now, do I believe that XDefiant is going to be the next in a long line of supposed Call of Duty killers, and one that might actually do the job? No, I doubt it, but I feel like it is going to fill a very particular niche that we've not had in quite a while. So the game essentially feels pretty much exactly what you'd want a sort of classic COD experience to feel like. The movement feels good, the gunplay feels great and fairly arcadey, so it's something we're sort of used to and know to expect at this point, but it doesn't take itself nearly as seriously as Siege does, and supposedly the game even does away with skill-based matchmaking, which is a very contentious feature that a lot of people hate, and I can see both arguments of it. I get with skill matchmaking, you essentially can improve supposedly by playing with people at your same skill rank, but sometimes you don't want to improve. Sometimes you just want to shoot people dead. So I can see cases both for and against it. I like the more casual aspect that XDefiant is trying to bring back. A lot of people say XDefiant feels like some of the best years of Call of Duty in a new FPS, and while this is only the closed beta and there is so very much that could go wrong for this game and just everything about it in general, the fact that it's run by Ubisoft is a little bit concerning, considering that not even a month ago they absolutely killed Rainbow Six Extraction. But this is a free-to-play title. As far as free-to-play titles go, there isn't really anything to worry about in terms of progression and everything. It looks like there's going to be a battle pass of some kind. This is the battle pass we currently have. It's completely free to whoever has the closed beta, and there's the stuff that you can unlock, which I think is going to carry over into the full version, so I really need to up my game and actually play this more, because to be honest, the game is a lot of fun. I'm honestly shocked at how much I am enjoying it, because I have not enjoyed a Call of Duty since Black Ops 3, I'd say. Since then, I've not really been back to COD, but I do miss that arcadey shooter feel of, you know, you drop in, you play for 10 minutes, you drop out, you're done. As opposed to something like Apex Legends, where you need to commit to like 30-40 minutes, Valorant or CSGO, where depending on how good you are, it can take like 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the games. It's nice to have something new in the space that doesn't require, you know, more than 10 minutes. You can literally play one game, dip out, and then come back 2 hours later, do the same again, or you can have an absolute monster session all night long, depending on what you prefer. So what makes the game unique is it's kind of a hero shooter mixed with classic Call of Duty gameplay, I'd argue, is how I'd describe it. So we have these factions similar to something like Overwatch, Paladins, Valorant, that kind of thing. So for instance, we've got the Cleaners from The Division. So their ultimate is a flamethrower, ensures enemies are thoroughly sterilized. You've got a napalm delivering drone, and you've got a Molotov cocktail that causes explosive damage and igniting the area. This one's a bit weird. When I was playing, I assumed the firebomb would be you throw a Molotov cocktail. It was not. You kind of just do a weird ring of fire. Passive incendiary ammo. You can change who your favorite character is going to be, who you're going to play as. It's not a massive deal. You're not really going to see your character. You got characters from Ghost Recon. You got the Aegis, which is quite fun. The Mag Barrier, which is honestly quite enjoyable. Just, you know, pretty simple standard shield. The Blitz Shield, which looks absolutely ridiculous, but is also quite amusing. And then passive trait, health increased via tailored gene therapies. What in the world? Oh, so they just have more health. I've not actually looked at these properly. Libertar, which is the Far Cry 6 faction, which I thought was interesting. Not played Far Cry 6 yet. Their ult, I think, is the default selection for everyone at the minute, because their ult was absolutely absurd. Basically, they can boost their health up to 2 times its original amount. And then their active skill for 1 is they can increase their health by 20 and any nearby allies. So it's really easy to just boost everyone's health, and I can see these two getting nerfed at some point, but it is kind of the default that everyone picks, and it's really annoying having the drop on someone, but because they've got double health, they can turn around and murder you dead. This one's just a revitalizing gas canister, sort of a healing well, I think. I've not actually used this. And then passive that we don't actually have. Echelon. I love Echelon. Echelon's so much fun. It's from Splinter Cell. So you got the sonar goggles. You basically do Bloodhound's ult from Apex, where you can see everyone around you, and you have Sam Fisher's 5.7 pistol, and it just one-shots pretty much everything. It's very satisfying to do. Digital ghillie suit, you pretty much just go invisible. Intel suit shows where people are around you, and your character does not appear on opponents' minimaps regardless of actions performed. So it's a pretty standard, pretty standard passive. I don't know why this one doesn't have a passive, or maybe they just haven't found a way to explain the passive, I'm not too sure. And then DedSec from the Watch Dogs franchise. Very interesting. Don't have them unlocked yet. You do need to unlock them for, I believe it's Ubisoft Connect, if I'm not mistaken. Their ultimate, which is called an Ultra for some reason, prevents enemies from using their abilities and ultras in an area of effect. It's kind of cool. Hack enemy deployed abilities and make them your own. Don't really know what that entails, but it sounds fun. Deploy a spider bot that will target and stun the nearest foe via face hug. That seems annoying. After a device is deployed, the fabricator prints a new one. So yeah, I've not tried out DedSec. I don't think many people have unlocked them yet. It requires like 150k points. I don't know if that means of damage in the game. I've not actually looked. But it's cool that we have access to, a bunch of different Tom Clancy factions. Well, I say Tom Clancy, Ubisoft. I mean, it's just fun to have access to all the different factions because they can add new stuff to them and they can be tailored for that particular faction. It seems like a fun mechanic. The only thing that worries me is that when they create a new character, the rest of the factions are going to be imbalancing until you create a new one. But I imagine for the most part, that's not really going to be an issue, so I wouldn't be too concerned. What would a Call of Duty-like shooter be without loadouts? It's a pretty standard loadout system, but I feel like it's a bit more in-depth, at least in terms of weapon customization than we normally get. In the closed beta, you currently have access to everything, but you can pick and choose, your first and secondary. They've got a fair few different options to pick and choose from. Then you've got an extensive list of attachments, which I'm sure they are going to add plenty to. There is also a skin section. Unfortunately, that isn't currently available for whatever reason. They removed it during the patch yesterday. There was also a mastery thing where it was like every 50 kills, 100 kills, 150 kills, or maybe every 50k experience. I can't remember. Basically, you could get it in bronze, silver, and gold as like a mastery thing, kind of like, the classic Call of Duty standard of get X amount of headshots, you get this camo, that kind of thing. So there are skins. I do actually have a gun that does still have a skin on, and it's this one. I can't actually take it off. They've kind of just removed it for now, but there it is. So there are skins you can pick and choose from. Yeah, there's just so many different options to pick and choose from, and I imagine they're going to add more. Unfortunately, you can only have a maximum amount of attachments, but can't be too greedy. Same with a pistol, plenty of different options to pick and choose from. So you can customize your weapons a lot, which is really nice. And then you've got, pretty standard grenades and whatnot. And yeah, that's the loadout system. Pretty nice. I like how sort of in-depth it seems to be. Being able to customize your weapon as much as you like is a really nice feature of the game, I feel. And I can definitely see them adding new attachments and whatnot to the game. One concern is if they ever make any of the attachments purchasable, then you could make the argument that certain attachments are pay to win, but that hasn't happened yet. They haven't said they will be, and we kind of just have to wait and see on what they do with that one. I'm crossing my fingers on the fact that they don't do that, but it is, it is a legitimate concern. The game is going to be free to play. They're going to need you to spend money somewhere. I imagine it's going to be just mainly on skins and on characters, and on character skins at the very least, but again, we will have to see. So apparently the game itself is being developed by some ex-Call of Duty developers or pro players. So the people that are making the game are people that know why people fell in love with Call of Duty in the first place. And people have a lot to say about the new Call of Duties, let's put it that way. So going back to an era of COD that people really enjoyed, seems to be a pretty winning formula for XDefiant, and from what I've played of the game and just the overall gunplay, feels really, really good. At some point there is going to be a ranked mode, which will be where, the standard skill-based matchmaking will come into play. There's the training zone. So far, the game only has 4 game modes. It also has a custom playlist. So you've got escort, which is just escorting a payload. Zone control, where you have to attack, defend, and capture zones. Domination, the standard ABC capture points, which you need to keep for longer than your opponent. And then occupy, which is where essentially a capture point will show up somewhere in the map. You have to get to it and hold it longer than your opponent until whoever gets the most points wins. So it seems that the game is going to have a more objective focused element to it. So yeah, as it stands, it's only just objectives that they currently have, but they do intend on, I imagine they intend on adding more game modes as the game goes into full release. I imagine this is just for closed beta, but I think something like a team deathmatch or a free-for-all would be a lot of fun, or, you know, a kill confirmed gun game, also, you know, pretty classic edition. But we'll have to see on what they add to the game as it sort of progresses through development. But going back to how it feels to play, which is ultimately all that really matters, is the game fun to play? Yes, it is. It is really fun to play. It is one of the most fun I've had with an online FPS in quite some time. I think what I enjoy about it is that it's not a battle royale. We have a ton of those that are still very popular. And it isn't a hero shooter, which we still have a fair amount of. It's just standard arcade FPS goodness that I think a lot of us kind of grew up with, and we don't really have as much of anymore. And the game just feels great. There's something really satisfying with just picking a sniper and then just running around blasting people with a quick one shot. It is so incredibly satisfying to pull off. It is unbelievable. Just the gameplay itself, very, very impressed by. Will it last? Who knows? With Ubisoft, I do have some small concerns, considering their track record of just ending stuff because it's not doing particularly well. But considering all of the gameplay and footage and commentary that people are making around this game, they all seem very positive. And this is mainly coming from people that play FPS games professionally. So the game looks to have a lot of really interested parties. As it stands, it looks like the game has a lot of really interesting parties, and considering how much fun it is to play, I can understand why, and that's currently in a closed beta state. Now, in essence, there is a lot to sort of enjoy from the closed beta. It's not particularly broken, it is fairly well polished, which would imply that maybe it's not that far away from being released. We don't actually have a release date as of yet. As it stands, the game is a lot of fun. If you can get yourself a code via like a Twitch drop or something, definitely recommend playing the game, regardless of what console you're playing it on. It's a lot of fun. It's really fun. If you enjoy a fun FPS that doesn't take itself too seriously, XDefiant is a great one to be playing right now. And I think people are going to be struggling once the closed beta finishes, because the game is a lot of fun. And there aren't many games like it at the minute that has, I don't know, the cultural zeitgeist that this genre requires for it to survive. Again, will that remain? Who knows? We will have to wait and see. But for now, XDefiant looking really impressive. But we will have to see what it's like upon release. For now though, thank you for those that stuck around to the end. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Please let me know what you think about the game. If you've had a chance to give it a try, if you're still hoping for a Twitch drop at some point, let me know. I'm really interested on seeing what everyone else thinks about the game. I think it's a lot of fun and doesn't take itself too seriously, which honestly really adds to how enjoyable it is to play. But that's just my thoughts. I've been James, the Mayor of Jamestown, and until next time, goodbye.